Hey folks, we're back with the second Doctor Who review of the series. I'm Rainiac, your host as always, and joining me I have not one but two guests this week. FreezingInferno returns.
Hi there.
And we don't have Kuchiri again, unfortunately, because of a scheduling conflict, but taking his place and making her debut on this, we have Kat.
Pretend I said something funny here.
Will do.
You're so full of wit.
I know, I'm just amazing.
And this is the bit I don't really like doing, but unfortunately, because there'll always be one person out there, one idiot. Well, for that one idiot, this is a spoiler warning. Please do not watch this review until you've seen the episode, because it contains big-time spoilers, as always. And
like the biggest one of all, Snape kills Dumbledore.
Holy shit.
And Soylent Green is people. We've already covered this, but...
Jesus.
But, as I say, no Kuchiri, unfortunately. We were going to sort of link to his thoughts, like a pre-recorded video review, well, audio review. Unfortunately, we ran out of time to do that, so I'll maybe get him to record that and then link it to it separately in the description. If not, we'll try and get him in next week, so if Kuchiri, if you're hearing this for the first time, sorry, but anyway, let's get straight into the episode, Into the Dalek, then.
Yes.
What did we all think?
Yeah.
I liked it well enough. It had its problems, but I liked it well enough.
I think I liked it. Sorry. Go on.
No, it's okay. I thought it was a very, very cruel episode.
Oh.
It was very mean in its tone.
Lots of cruelty in this episode, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Mm.
I liked it a lot on the first watch, and then I had to watch it again, obviously, to make notes, and I found myself sort of picking holes in it, but it was still enjoyable, and as I'll talk about later, I think it is a nice return form for the Daleks.
I gave it 2 watches as well, and well, I do like it. I mean, it's an okay episode, bordering on above average, let's say, but there were elements in it that I really liked, and I generally thought it was an improvement from last week, so there's that.
And also a sensible use of the Daleks. They're not in there, like, killing everybody and being stupid.
Or getting destroyed. Well, they do get destroyed, but not like...
There was that one moment.
I've always thought that Stephen Moffat is kind of characterized the Daleks recently as, I apologise for this, pussies.
Oh.
Yeah.
They have not been a threat since, like, Series 5.
Actually, if you want to talk about Stephen Moffat and the Daleks, you were a man of little faith, Rainiac.
Oh, yes. Here comes the vow I made last week.
Time to eat crow, honey bunch.
Anyone got access to a crow I can eat on air? If
I know we could get a good deal on chickens.
If someone says yes, I'll be very disturbed. But yeah, okay. So I'm sort of eating crow, but I'm sort of not. But I did enjoy it more than I said I was going to. So for that, I hold my hands up. I was wrong.
That's all.
Well, I mean, honestly, Moffat isn't. He hasn't had a good track record when it comes to Daleks. So you have to take his stuff with a grain of salt.
I'm not going to shout it from the rooftops, but I was wrong.
It does help that he had the co-writer in this one. Or rather,
yes, it wasn't.
Or rather, he helped co-write.
Phil Ford.
Yeah. Kudos, Mr. Ford, and the opening sequence looked very impressive in my mind.
It was okay, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like
I'll take your word for it.
Pew lasers, boom boom. There
you
was another
missed
part
it.
of the opening sequence I liked better, but we'll get to
that.
that.
I missed it because I forgot about Doctor Who was on. Oh, now I feel bad.
I was going to say that's an easy mistake to make, but no, it isn't.
Oh, well, thank you. Your sympathy is well noted.
Oh, haven't you heard? Someone's told me I'm permanently sarcastic sounding, so I had to kind of exploit that.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I do think Series 8 has definitely more money to spend in the CGI department, and this sequence kind of typified that.
Mm.
All they have to do is make it useful, unlike the poor T-Rex from the previous episode.
Oh, please don't bring up the T-Rex.
Oh, yeah.
I will forever bring up the T-Rex.
What a waste of good CGI.
Mm.
What a waste of time.
Yeah, as we talked about last week, it didn't add into the episode, but that was there. This is now. So
what a waste of a predator from the Cretaceous period. Wait, what?
Yes. And I thought the introduction of Journey Blue was a rather strong one, although Journey Blue is a terrible name.
Yeah.
She's a one-shot lady. Who really.
Well, the blue part I get, but Journey?
I don't think that Blue is
the
even a
future.
real last name.
It's
I
the
mean,
future.
future, and fine, whatever. Blue is not a last name. It's not.
I know we have some very odd like celebrity children's names like Heavenly Hirana Tiger
Apple.
Lily, but even that is not as daft as Journey Blue.
Northwest.
Christ's sakes.
Yeah, or indeed Northwest.
I didn't really find it as stupid. Like, it's like, okay, it sounds a silly name, but whatever. It's just a name.
I also felt that the death of her brother, I mean, again, Kat may not have seen this because she missed the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That kind of, forgive the pun here, it came out of the blue. But
Oh,
no!
I feel it would have had more impact. That's me leaving, by the way. I feel it would have more impact.
Good night, everybody.
If we'd known him longer than a few seconds. Like, he didn't get a line, he was just sort of slumped over half conscious, then the ship blew up and he was dead.
Plus, I obviously didn't see this, but the fact is that couldn't the Doctor have done something a bit more? I mean, he has a time machine. I'm pretty sure that's not a fixed point in time for this one guy to die. So it just seems superfluous.
That's why I'm going off the theory that he was already dead when the episode started.
Probably.
I don't know, maybe.
We'll because as much of this new look Doctor is a bit more callous than his predecessors, I don't think he would leave a man who was, able to be saved to die.
Probably.
Although really, if you look at the whole entire series as a whole, if he did just go back in time a few minutes to save one person, the episodes would take forever, and nobody would die, and there'd be no drama.
Yeah, I think we can chalk this one up to plot convenience.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Although really, in the episode, it didn't come in until later, and that was a really odd moment. Can I talk about it out of order?
Yeah, sure. Fine?
Okay, so the whole premise of the episode is there's this Dalek, and he's somehow good, so they're going to shrink down inside this machine and go inside the Dalek. So the Doctor picks up Clara, or Clara, however you want to pronounce it, and he's like, oh, hey, we're going to go inside this Dalek, so get ready. So Journey Blue, I have to say her whole name because it's ridiculous, is talking to Clara, and she notices that, early in the episode, Clara met this guy called Danny Pink. Great track record with names, by the way. And Journey happens to notice that Clara seems to be somewhat taken in with Danny. So, out of the blue, she suddenly says, my brother used to make me happy, but now he's dead.
You did it again, by the way.
What?
Out of the blue.
Oh.
It's okay. I think yours was unintentional. Mine was semi-unintentional, but turned into a pun. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like that's the only part where her brother dying comes in, and it's number one being unnecessarily mean to Clara, who has done nothing, like literally nothing. She just appeared out of the blue. Damn it!
God. Stop.
Do I need to keep account of this?
I hope not. So Clara just appears, and all of a sudden Journey's being really mean to her just because Clara happens to be happy. And it makes absolutely no sense. And it's the only time at all that her brother is ever mentioned.
Well, for you, it was, because he was mentioned at the beginning, but yes.
Well, I mean, after his death.
After his death, yeah. It did seem a bit out of place, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like I said before, this is a very mean episode.
Oh.
Like, this is one of the many examples.
Seriously cruel episode.
It's like, I get their Daleks, and the idea is the Doctor hates Daleks, but you can't have an episode that just shits on everybody.
Well, he has good reason for hating the Daleks, but yes.
Well, see, that's where I'm kind of iffy about that. Because, I mean, the whole point of, what was it, Time of the Doctor?
Yeah.
The one with John Hurt?
No, it's Day of the Doctor. Day of the Doctor.
Day of the Doctor, okay, I'm sorry. The whole point of Day of the Doctor is that everybody from 11 up now knows that Gallifrey is saved, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like, what's the whole point now?
Because even if Gallifrey is saved, it doesn't excuse the atrocities the Daleks have committed in the past.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
They're still murder machines.
It's hard to let go of that hate.
Yeah, they're still murder machines. I still think the hate for them is mostly justified. One or two examples where it wasn't, especially this episode, but we'll get to that a bit later on. Anyone else find it a bit strange with the uncle thing?
Which uncle? Oh,
The
that guy.
Colonel was called Uncle Blue. Was he a relative of hers? Was it like his title or code name?
I think he was her uncle.
I think he was actually her uncle.
Okay. Because
Colonel Morgan Blue.
Yeah, that's his name. But she kept referring to him as uncle.
She's his niece.
But occasionally she'd refer to him as Colonel, and that was kind of the strange thing. He had like two names for him. She had two names for him. It could be like
she is a soldier. She is a soldier, and he is her commanding officer.
That's very true.
So she has to have some level of respect for him.
That's very true, actually.
Outside of family relations. So
I thought it could be a thing like, you won't know what I'm talking about, so I'll have to explain. There was a TV series in the 60s and the early 70s called The Avengers. Nothing to do with the Marvel Avengers. This was a British show.
Oh, I know this one. This one had the really horrible movie. It was sort of a James Bond type thing.
Yeah, well, before the horrible movie, there was a really good TV series. And later on, they introduced a boss character called Mother. But Mother was actually a man. So it was his title.
Man, baby.
So I was thinking maybe Uncle was a bit like that, but I will accept that he was probably a relative.
Also, speaking of the Avengers and Doctor Who, Diana Rigg.
Oh, are we going back to the Crimson Horror briefly?
You said it wrong.
Oh, are we going back to the Crimson Horror briefly? He hosted that every time I mention that damn episode.
You gotta say it right.
Yeah, right. You brought up Danny Pink, Kat. What do you think of him as a character?
I think he has potential. Obviously, he's an ex-soldier or retired or whatever he is. So he's going to have some real problems with the Doctor, and the Doctor's going to have problems with him. I'm hoping that they do not go the Mickey route, where he kind of acts sullen and mad just because this girl is hanging out with him.
Don't make him the tin dog.
Oh, God.
But overall, I think he's a pretty interesting character. But that kid in the classroom.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the whole that stuff was kind of heavy-handed and hammered in, you know.
So, in the beginning of the episode, around when the Doctor goes to get Clara, we meet the character Danny Pink, who is a veteran of Afghanistan, I want to say. Afghanistan.
Like that.
And he comes to teach at the same school that Clara does.
Oh, yeah.
So he's talking to the class. It's the end, and he's giving them their homework. And one of the kids pops up like, "Have you ever killed someone?" And it's like, okay, that's normal. They're little kids. They're going to say stuff like that. Just gloss over it. And then the kid says, "Did you ever kill innocents?"
And you get that whole
single tear. Single tear, yeah.
It's like, screw you, kid.
I get why they did
horrible
it.
Kid?
I get why they did it, and the single tear was very effective in showing that he had a haunted past without going too much into it at this stage. But I agree. I mean, between this episode and last week's...
It's heavy-handed as hell.
Between this episode and last week's, I think Coal Hill Secondary School may have some of the worst behaved kids ever.
Yeah, I mean, and also, there is no kid on Earth, except for someone who's on the opposite side of the soldiers, fighting against them, who will say, "Have you ever killed an innocent?" This was forced in.
Man,
they could have done so much more with this.
On that
but
front, there might be a tiny bit of foreshadowing when he's referred to as a lady killer.
Man, you think Coal Hill School is bad now? You should have seen it in 1963. I mean, they had smart-mouthed kids everywhere.
Oh, God. There's one thing between having... It's one thing having a smart mouth. It's another to ask your teacher if he's killed somebody.
And not just somebody, killed innocent people.
Someone who wasn't a soldier, yes.
It's like, you don't ask a soldier that. You don't ask anyone that.
You can't say you don't ask anyone
you know,
that.
Unless you're in court and you think that they killed someone, then it's okay to ask that.
But they're not going to say yes, are they, if you're in court?
If you're in a classroom, do not ask that.
I completely agree.
I wanted to punch that kid so much.
But I think Danny has potential.
I can't really judge him just yet based on this. It's kind of heavy-handed nonsense, but he could get better if he comes back.
I think he's going to become more important as time goes on. He may even become... I don't even know yet if he's going to be a companion, because I've still not been reading spoilers, but it looks like he's going to become a companion, which is going to make things extremely interesting when he does meet the Doctor, because the Doctor doesn't like soldiers.
No.
Which is weird, despite the fact that he spent years working for UNIT.
I'm glad somebody brought that up. What was with this? It was almost like a sudden change. Oh, suddenly I don't like soldiers. He was a soldier in the Time War.
Well, you have to remember, he didn't exactly do that completely willingly. He did that because he had to.
He didn't really have to. He was just sort of... Oh, wait, are you talking about the Time War? Or?
Yeah, the
Time War.
Okay. I was thinking of UNIT, but yeah, Time War, yeah, that's right. He tried to avoid it for as long as he could, and then we had Night of the Doctor, and they were
yeah.
So I could see maybe like his anger at soldiers is the fact that he had to be one, and then Time of the Doctor happened, and he realized he didn't exactly have to be one.
Well, or it could be one of the lines in the episode: "Soldiers follow orders." Yeah. I read this somewhere. The Doctor, who's been running around for centuries doing whatever he likes, he would hate that sort of rigid line of thinking. Soldiers just blindly following orders.
Yeah, but here's the thing that rubs me the wrong way with his certain hatred of soldiers, or dislike of soldiers, maybe not full-blown hatred. He's worked with soldiers since the Time War.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned UNIT, also Time of the Angels, and Flesh and Stone, was it called? The two-parter with the Weeping Angels.
There's the part with the Impossible Astronaut, where he worked with an FBI agent, I believe he was.
Well, that's not really.
He's not really a soldier, though. But yes.
No, but he's still, he's still in that area.
I just feel that this is a character trait that's suddenly been cooked up to explain something that will happen later in the series.
Maybe. So how about that Dalek?
Rusty?
Oh boy.
Yeah, Rusty.
I suspect this is where we're going to have the most issues with the episode, isn't it?
Maybe. I mean, there's one part that I haven't talked about yet that I really liked, but let's talk about the Dalek. Why not? So, as far as I can tell, this is, I think, the first time you've really delved into the whole inner workings of a Dalek. I mean, we've always known that the Daleks are basically walking tanks with little Khaled mutants inside, the eyeball and the pulsating green goo and all that stuff. But yeah, this is a full exploration of the insides of a Dalek. And all through the episodes I saw, I was like, wow, Davros built all this. He engineered all of this. Crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think the idea of going inside a Dalek is a very worthy one for a story. I just wish it was kind of handled slightly better.
It was really trippy the way they went into the eyepiece, and it was all swirly, shimmery, psychedelic. I liked that effect.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how that works. Is it like the lens made out of something liquid? Did the Dalek let them in? Or were they just so small that they were able to pass through the molecules or something?
It's one of those things I don't think you're really supposed to think about.
I guess. It's just before we've seen them cracked and divided, so I'm wondering how they did that.
One of these things you're not supposed to think about? Oh, you mean like the entire episode?
Maybe not. Well,
I'm sorry,
anyway.
but sometimes I get that feeling watching like Moffat era Doctor Who, but don't get me wrong, I still enjoy it, and we're going to bring the fanboys down upon us, so let's quickly move on. I thought the visuals inside the Dalek were quite, not realistic looking, but quite impressive looking.
I like the fact that they seem to have real sets. That was a nice change, because usually stuff like this, they'll, put a small walkway and then everything else will be blue screen.
And this is where I have to shatter the illusion, it was all green screened. but never mind.
Oh, damn, shit.
Or vast parts of it were green screen, because it showed it on Doctor Who Extra, and I'm sorry, Kat, because...
You're breaking the fourth wall! You're breaking the fourth wall!
It's still real to her.
My heart.
It's still real to her, damn it.
Oh my god, no.
But no, it
Green
was
screen or not.
CGI or real set. It doesn't really matter because it was still a very impressive looking visual inside the Dalek. One slight problem: what was with Rusty having HD vision into his own body? I really think they didn't think that through. I mean, I get when the Doctor appeared in front of him towards the end, that was directly in front of his eyeball, so that made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a point, because if he had all that video footage, he would have to have cameras all throughout his body.
Yeah.
Maybe the antigens act as it, because they do or the antibodies, I'm sorry. Maybe the antibodies are
Who's to
somewhat
say
like
he doesn't have cameras all across his body so he can monitor his own faults? I mean, he's an alien. It's an alien tank.
Okay.
Who's to say?
I'll let that potential plot hole slide. One plot hole I'm not going to allow to slide. Sorry for jumping back here for a moment. The beginning of the episode, we know that the Doctor arrives on the asteroid base. Colonel Blue says, right, well, thank you for saving Journey Blue, but we're still going to have to kill you. He manages to wrangle his way into not being killed. But they said that they were going to kill him in case he was a Dalek spy or duplicate. But they then not only allowed the Doctor to leave, they assume he'll come straight back. Now, if he was spying for the Daleks, he could have just gone straight to them and they would have been finished.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tactical error.
Well, that's a tactical error.
Well, it is.
Maybe they were tracking him, but he travels in time, and I don't think any of the soldiers knew about that, not even Journey Blue.
Plus, I mean, these are rebels on the run from the Daleks. I don't think that they would want to have a whole bunch of radio signals or any other kind of signals going out all over the universe.
True, but my point is he could have just left.
He could have.
Yeah, it's really only the fact that the Doctor's a nice guy that he even came back.
I'm sorry, maybe I just go too into the story sometimes, and I'm just picking holes for the sake of picking holes.
I don't know. We don't want to get too nitpicky here. Yeah. It was a fun. It's kind of like Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. It was kind of a fun episode. You gotta sort of turn your brain off for it.
Can we talk about perhaps my favourite scene out of the whole thing? Well, there were two really, really good scenes, but my favourite scene out of the whole thing?
It depends. What's that?
Ross's death.
Oh, well. Let's see. Can I talk about one thing that I liked first that we haven't really touched on yet?
Yeah.
You're all talking about the plot and how this don't make sense and that don't make sense. But you know what sold the episode for me? You know what really sold it for me and makes it like, wow, this is an improvement. It makes me say, okay, I am on. Deep Breath was kind of rocky in places near the start. I wasn't sure about this new thing, but now I am convinced that this new series of Doctor Who, this new Doctor, this new companion is going to be great.
Was it Missy?
Ugh.
No, it was not Missy. Ugh.
It was definitely not Missy.
Guess who's back, people?
Yeah, but can we get to that later? Let him
Don't
finish.
Get me started on Missy, but no, it was the Doctor and Clara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this new Doctor. He's shuffled off all that post-regenerative nonsense that I railed about in the last review. And this is his persona. He's, like you said, he's a bit callous. He's a bit more harsh. But he gets down to business, and he is concerned with being a good man. He wants to try and be a better person after all this
One of my
stuff.
favorite lines between, I guess you could say it's between him and Clara, is when he's brought her on and they're talking to all the soldiers and he's trying to explain who Clara is. He's like, she's not my assistant, and she's like, I'm his carer. And then he says, yes, she cares, so I don't have to.
Yeah, I love that line.
You missed this, Cat, but when Journey Blue was rescued by the Doctor, she's just pointing a gun at him. She's screaming, "My brother's dead!" And he just calmly replies, "His sister's not. You're very welcome." And then she's holding the gun to him, and she's like, "I demand you take me back to my ship." Not like that. Not like that. I demand... No. Think not like that.
Get it right.
Get it right. Take me back to my ship, please.
Yes, it starts with I demand, then you will, and then it becomes will you please.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then
And then there was
obliges.
and then there's the death of I don't even remember his name,
Ross.
but Red Shirt number 1.
Yeah, red shirt number 1.
That was what you were going to go into, was it?
Yeah, well, he was basically in the episode to be killed in a spectacular way, and by God did it happen.
You knew that would happen.
Yeah.
That's not really what I wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring up the Doctor's reaction to his peril. I'm sure you wanted to as well.
I'm going to, yes.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, so just to recap a bit, they're inside the Dalek, and then Ross does the stupidest thing you could possibly do inside a living being and fires an electrified grappling hook straight into it. This brings the antibodies to them, which I like it was a reference to, I think it was a reference to Let's Kill Hitler.
It seemed a lot like that.
And the Tesseract, because there were antibodies that killed people in that episode, although they weren't like the Daleks antibodies.
They were programmed. Those things were programmed, whereas this is more of a self-defense mechanism.
And also the compression technology.
Mm-hmm.
Although the effect on that nanoscaler, god damn it, that was poor. That was poor. I know that was one thing Kuchiri didn't like.
Oh well. Fucking.
Yeah. But I suppose they can only do so much with effects, so we'll give them a pass on that.
They blew it all on that intro you were all praising. There you go.
But anyway, yeah, that is still a great intro, and I have to say the theme is growing on me already, but Ross is surrounded by antibodies, and like, you're going to get him out, aren't you? He goes, yeah, swallow this, Ross. He throws him something, and then the antibodies murder him anyway.
And then vacuum him up and then sweep him off to someplace else.
And as everyone runs...
And the great bit is the Doctor uses the guy's death to find his way throughout the Dalek.
It's great because Journey gets mad at him like, you let him die! He was dead already. I was saving us.
Yeah, I mean, this makes him come across as cold and uncaring, and I suppose no way he is, but that's a good point. I mean, if you can't save somebody, I know it's like not the popular point of view, better to save those that you can save and make use of the person's demise.
It's
very calculated in thinking, and ooh.
Yeah, and this leads to mean moment number 2,826, where they drop down this tube into a feeding sector where the Daleks apparently harvest protein and keep it in like this slime. So Journey's like, oh my god, you let him die. Why would you let him die? And he says, well, here, he's the top layer of this sludge. Say goodbye.
And then right after that, he's making puns about bolt holes.
Yeah, it's like, Ross is the top layer if you want to say a few words. Oh my god.
And then they just grab him by the collar and it's like, a man is dead.
Yeah,
and like all the background soldiers are like, is he always like this? And Clara's like, yeah, sometimes you want to laugh at him and sometimes you want to smack him.
Which of course she does in equal measure.
That was so awesome.
Oh, that does get to the other thing I was talking about. Not only is this new Doctor, in my opinion, just fantastic in the way he's just calculated and callous, and I really love it, but his dynamic with Clara is even better because, I mean, the whole thing of the episode, the Dalek is damaged and it wants to kill all the Daleks. It's a good Dalek, and the Doctor fixes it, at which point the Dalek is promptly kill all humans, exterminate, breaks free, goes on a rampage. You get to see the extermination effect, which I'm sure made Rainiac very happy.
Finally.
So the Doctor, everything seems hopeless, and the Doctor's resigned. He's like, oh, I was right all along. There's no such thing as a good Dalek. And then, whap, the Clara smacks him across the face.
No, you forget. She's like, you're making that face again. He's like, what face? The face that you get when I'm about to smack you. And then she smacks him.
That was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that was amazing.
You mentioned how good this new Doctor is, but can I just put in a word here for Jenna Coleman? I think the new portrayal of Clara is pretty damn good too.
I was getting to that, actually. Yeah. The new Clara, like, Series 7, she was sort of a blank slate. That, like I said, I believe I said that in Deep Breath, didn't I?
I think you did, yeah.
Did I? Yeah. But here, okay, this is her character now. She's a school teacher, right?
Yep.
She teaches. She's there to teach the Doctor. She's there to be his moral ground, since he's a more calculated and cold Doctor now. And you see this in the episode. he writes off the Dalek. Everything's hopeless. There's no such thing as a good Dalek. And she just says, no, that's not what we learned today. What we learned today is that Daleks can be altered. They can.
They could be,
And that's
quote-unquote, fixed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we learned up in the Dalek's brain, they have all these lights and memories that are suppressed by these lights.
Exactly.
What they learned was that a good Dalek was possible. Okay, it was caused by faulty brain chemistry, but it was still possible.
Still possible.
Well, really, the whole idea is that the Daleks have all these good memories and good feelings suppressed by their brains. The defect in the Dalek kind of stopped that from happening. So it's kind of like undoing a brainwashing.
What the Dalek realized, basically, was as it saw like a star being born, it realized that you can't exterminate the universe. It'll just keep going and new life will keep coming in. So it realized, and it quoted the Borg for some God-known reason, resistance is futile.
That was a Borg quote?
A Borg? Yeah, that's what the Borg shout in Star Trek.
Fair enough.
The Dalek pretty much says that resistance to life is futile.
I'm probably going to alienate some of our audience here, but I haven't really watched Star Trek.
Neither have I, to be honest. I watched some of the movies, but by God.
But okay, so he quoted the Borg.
I like Picard.
Yeah, all right, but
nice.
Whether that was back onto the subject of the show we are reviewing here. If that was a Borg quote, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but if it was intentional, fair enough. Another reference possible to science fiction, although it could just be me being crazy, it's entirely possible. Them falling into the shaft, falling down the shaft into a waste disposal. That's so much like Star Wars.
Yeah, I can kind of see it. I don't know if it's
Like
intentional
good
or not.
Star Wars, not the prequels.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Don't you start.
That's a kettle of fish I'm not prepared to open. My God.
Don't you start.
Let's not forget the episode as a whole, because shrinking people down and having them go inside of other things' bodies is a common trope in sci-fi.
Yeah,
Ooh,
so
There's tons of books and movies about it.
Can I drop some classic Doctor Who knowledge bombs?
drop the knowledge bomb.
This has happened before. I mean, there was an episode with the first Doctor called Planet of the Giants where the TARDIS and everyone gets shrunk, and it's basically like they're in the backyard of a scientist, and there's stuff, and there's poison, and there's insects. It's basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 20 years early. Kind of. And the other episode is The Invisible Enemy, which is a Tom Baker episode. There's a virus, and it infects the Doctor, so the Doctor creates these little clones of him and his companion Leela to go into his body and fight the virus. And also there's a scientist helping, and he's got some stupid robot dog with him, and the thing's name is K9. Thank God that never went there. Yeah.
Hey, you shut up. I like K9.
I like K9 as a character.
K9 is adorable.
It's the name.
20.
It's the name he's complaining about.
I was being facetious. Okay, so that's my classic Doctor Who knowledge bomb for the day.
Okay, well, it's interesting.
What else would we like to talk about with the episode? Well, there's a Missy.
Oh God. Okay, this is where I call on Kat to give us a theory, because you've got a rather interesting theory about Missy, haven't you?
I've got technically two theories. It depends on what the next iteration of Missy does. Mm-hmm. My first theory from these two episodes we've seen is I think that Missy takes only people who willingly die. If you take the half-faced man, he was willing to die in order to stop everything from going on, to stop. He's been around for millions of years. He just wants to stop. He wants to find the Promised Man and just die. He was willing to go and be sacrificed for the greater good. And then you have the soldier in this episode. What was her name?
Gretchen,
thank you. Gretchen, they have to try to make the Dalek remember the event that made it go berserk in the first place, that made it go rogue, or good, whatever you want to call it. So they have to all go up to back to the brain and re-trigger these memories. but there is no easy way to get back up to the brain, so Gretchen sacrifices herself in order to put the zip line so that Clara and Journey can get up there. So not only does she, help them get up there, but the antibodies come in and they, take her down.
They kill her, yeah.
Yeah, they kill her, and she winds up in this heaven place with Missy. So she willingly sacrifices herself in order to save the people on the ship.
Yeah.
My second theory, and this again depends on what happens in later episodes, is... Oh, what was it? Crap. I had it in my head and now I forgot it. Damn it. It's people who die believing in the Doctor, specifically. The half-faced man believes what the Doctor is saying. He believes that there is no true promised land, there is no end to his suffering, he just has to die to get it over with. Gretchen, the same, she looks at the Doctor and she's like, will this work? And she has to believe fully in the Doctor that this will work. And then she dies.
Okay.
So depending on what happens in later episodes, either it's people who sacrifice themselves willingly for the greater good, or it's people who sacrifice with the ideas and belief in the Doctor.
That's very great theories, but I just can't be bothered to give a shit about this Missy nonsense.
What?
I really can't. It's the whole season-long arc mystery thing. I'm kind of burned out on it by now.
We're 2 episodes into the arc, but yes, I get what you're saying. For me,
Missy is here for no reason in the episode. It really doesn't add much more to the mystery. It's just, I'm here. Woo!
Yeah, it felt tacked on, didn't it? It felt very tacked on and very forced, dare I say.
It's like, it's been 1 episode, remember me? Hi, I'm here.
I get she's the big story plot arc for the series, but she doesn't need to be in every episode. I mean, go back to the Russell T Davies era. He had big, overreaching plot arcs, but they didn't all show up in every episode, did they?
Was Madeline Kavarian's face through the window in every episode of Series 7, Part 1?
Not in The Doctor's Wife, but apparently there was a deleted scene where it was going to be.
I don't think it was in every episode. I mean, that was kind of crowded around anyway. I mean...
And let's not forget, these are the first 2 episodes of the season. The first 2 episodes both have Missy in them.
Yes.
That's a little too much Missy in one shot.
If she shows up in the 3rd episode next week, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I would really like for them to skip it and just have a thing. I mean, well, we'll see.
The only interesting thing about this, 2 interesting things. One, it's not just enemies that are going to heaven now. It's allies as well, or at least not evil characters, not monsters. And also, Missy was not credited for her appearance at all.
Yeah.
Just, further confirming my idea that this was tacked on right at the end.
Yeah.
Like, we need a link to Missy. Well, somebody dies, let's just have them go to heaven randomly.
Yeah, I had the idea of, like, instead of putting her in the 2nd episode of the season, what they could have done was later on, they have an episode that features her in it, and they show all the other people that she's collected.
Yeah.
Over
now, that would have been a good revelation.
Space it out.
So, like, you see all these different people hanging out and having a tea party.
And be like, oh my god, that's her from there and her from there. Yeah, I mean, here's my thing with it. If you're going to have a season-long mystery thing, okay, fine. If you're going to put these little things in there to say, oh, there's something mysterious going on, fine. But for the love of God, add to the mystery a little. Don't just wave it in your face like jangling keys in front of a baby.
Yeah. You know a really good implemented plot arc from Doctor Who, modern Doctor Who? The Cracks in Time.
Okay, that was good. Yes.
And they didn't appear in every episode, or if they did, they were very sort of subtle. They weren't directly in your face going, we're a crack in time, we're important for later in the future.
And you learned more and more about them, and the Doctor commented on them, and we learned more about how they worked, like erasing things from time. We learned that.
And with Missy, it's just like, oh, somebody's in heaven, here's demonic Mary Poppins.
Yep.
Because that's what she reminds me of, satanic Mary Poppins.
Great.
So you mean regular Mary Poppins?
Basically, but just a bit more satanic. Yes.
Well,
Look,
we should
she
move
got
on
that
from-
magic bag from somewhere, and if it's not a deal with the devil, I will be very surprised.
The only thing else that was interesting about Gretchen's whole death scene is that his doctor's promised to her he would name something amazing after her. Now, he didn't do this at the end of the episode, so it's either going to be coming into it later in the series, like he remembers, or he's just waiting to do something amazing and he goes, that was for you. But I can't see the Doctor doing that somehow.
Well, anyway.
They'll discover an amoeba like 12 episodes later. It's like, there, that is the Gretchen amoeba.
Yes. I kind of hope they do come back into it some point in the future. Otherwise, he just lied to somebody who was going to sacrifice their life for him, and that doesn't sit well with me.
Well,
It's like, even if they do something simple, even if they do something simple like Clara is teaching, she teaches English, right?
She could name something
Even
about after Gretchen Carlisle. That's possible.
Yeah, if she could just mention something in the background about like how they look towards the
Carlisle
with
Nebula,
the Gretchen star in it. Yeah, the Carlisle Nebula. Something simple like that. I'd be happy with that.
That would be really clever. See, this is why you should be writing for this series.
Oh my god. So, can we talk about that ending?
Well, before we do that, can we just talk about we've mentioned Rusty specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Do we feel the Daleks were back to their old best?
I think so.
I mean, you've already mentioned it. They actually got to kill people in the classic way, which I was clamouring for. Not because I'm a bloodthirsty son of a bitch, although people may have different ideas on that, but because it goes with the Daleks' character. They are killing machines. They need to kill people.
There you go.
While I agree they are a threat, I think you guys can agree with me that the point where Rusty is turned back to good and he starts slaughtering all of the Daleks is a bit much.
A little.
That's the ending, though, so I think we can talk about that when we talk about the ending and that big twist.
Just one thing I want to say about the whole Daleks. Okay, so there weren't that many Daleks. There was one big spaceship, yeah, but the Daleks that raided the Aristotle, the ship, it was maybe like a platoon of Daleks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still pretty damn effective. It proves that less is more when it comes to the Daleks. I mean, you only have one Dalek at first in Into the Dalek and in 2005's Dalek. Whereas in the Russell T Davies era, all the finales pretty much involved, oh no, it's a million bajillion Daleks!
I agree.
And yet somehow they're even more incompetent than the single ones.
For me, the line that sums up what you're saying about the Daleks being more effective as a single group, as a small group, or a single unit, is in Doomsday.
I knew you were going to go
You
there.
would destroy the Cybermen with 4 Daleks. We would destroy the Cybermen with 1 Dalek. That's how much of a threat they are.
Exactly. So,
Daleks are better than Cybermen at one thing.
Dying. No, living. Actually, no, Daleks are better. You messed that up slightly, but yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I do feel they overused it. I know it's the Daleks catchphrase, right? But I do feel the line "exterminate" was overused a bit. Especially after Rusty broke free.
Personally, I'll call back to Power of the Daleks and hear them say Daleks conquer and destroy.
Possibly.
That would be great.
Well, we got seek, locate, exterminate, which is another callback, but
that's good.
Eradicate.
No,
oh God.
No.
Yeah.
Also, small thing I noticed, and again it could be me, like the Star Wars callback. The music that played when the power cell was fixed and he was going, the malfunction is corrected, and etc. etc. That's Torchwood music.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just my ears and it just sounded like Torchwood music, but that's a really strange thing to include in the Series 8 soundtrack.
Torchwood? What? I've never heard of that series.
That's probably for the best. Okay, so I said there were 2 great scenes in this episode. We've touched on one, Ross's death.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one is the Doctor literally getting inside Rusty's mind.
Can I make another Doctor Who classic knowledge bomb?
Drop it.
Okay. So when he does it, he touches like 2 wires together, right?
Yeah.
The entire there's the climactic scene of one of Tom Baker's first stories, Genesis of the Daleks, is when he has the chance to go back in time and destroy the Daleks by touching 2 wires together. And he's just basically talking about the whole, I can't do it, I don't have the right to do this, blah, 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 blah. And he doesn't touch the wires together. But Capaldi touches the wires together.
Well, to be fair, this is more teaching a Dalek how to be good than it is going back and eradicating the environment.
It's just a cute little visual comparison. But anyway, he gets inside the Dalek's mind and tries to show it the beauty of the universe.
I think the Doctor should probably have been killed when he touched the wires together, as you call it, although it's actually brain stems. But I don't really let that slide because it was such a good scene.
Oh, yeah.
The CGI looked a little ropey.
Again,
he became the Heavenly Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no!
Ugh!
Don't go there. No.
Abandon
I'm
review!
telling you, if there is not a Dalek sect that worships the Doctor, I will be very disappointed.
Abandon review! No, not really. Another thing that was a slight continuity problem. Well, there were two. The scene where Colonel Blue, Morgan Blue, whatever you want to call him, Uncle, whatever, was running from the Daleks. In one shot, he doesn't have a helmet on.
Oh.
He magically turns the corner, he has a helmet on.
Beautiful.
And then proceeds to keep it on for the entirety of the remainder of that chase sequence.
You know those magic disappearing, reappearing helmets.
Yes, true. But the other slight continuity error concerns Rusty's memories.
Mm-hmm.
If you look carefully, they are clips from Dalek and Parting of the Ways. Now, I get why they did this, because they wanted, some short clips to serve as the Daleks' memories and thought, well, why should we need to film new ones? We'll just take ones from previous Dalek episodes. But he could never have been in those episodes because the Daleks in them are dead.
Well, the Sound of the Daleks proves that the Daleks have a sort of hive-mindy thing because Clara hacked into it. Clara Dalek.
Oh, you were not going on the Dalek hive mind theory.
Oh, there you go. I patched up your pothole.
No, you didn't. You made it worse.
Actually, I have to say, when I first heard about the good Dalek that they had captured, for a brief moment in time, I thought that they had gone and found the Clara Dalek, and that was going to be the good Dalek.
That would have been amazing in a way.
That would have been a really crazy twist, but...
And that kind of puts it on when he says there's no such thing as a good Dalek. Hello, Oswin.
Hello.
Oswin was a good Dalek. She sacrificed herself to save your life and even wiped your memory out of the Dalek database.
Anyway.
Crap, I've just confirmed your hive mind theory. Damn it.
Okay. So, the Doctor shows the Dalek the beauty of the universe, but then the Dalek looks in the Doctor's mind and sees seething utter hatred for the Daleks and latches onto that as its universal truth. The Daleks are evil and they must be exterminated.
Yeah.
Which really, it's just a huge loop because in the beginning he's like, the Daleks must be exterminated. And then he's turned back to a normal Dalek and now he's once again, the Daleks must be exterminated.
Yeah.
So in the end, the Doctor's own prejudices prevent him from making a victory on that day, and he says as much. This is no victory.
Yeah, victory would have been a good Dalek, and then the absolute...
And it's as you said, Kat, it's the final punchline to a really mean episode of sorts, but in a way, it does kind of fit the history of the show. This does feel like something by, well, it's not as good, but something by Robert Holmes, one of the classic show writers. He's written a lot of classics of the show, and his writing was always very cynical, and,
Yeah, so much cruelty in this episode, as we've already touched on.
It's a very bleak episode, and, well, I do kind of like it for that. It definitely sets a mood, and
there are some great lines in it, of course.
Oh, yes.
Like, when Rusty shouts in glee, the Daleks have been exterminated, and he goes, of course they are. It's what you do, isn't it? I love the way he delivered that line.
It's just morose.
I have a request for all of YouTube. You know those YouTube videos where they take the can and they have different sounds from shows being made into the can? I want that, but with the sound of Clara being hit by the paper in the first episode and the sound of her slapping the Doctor in this episode.
Oh my god.
Do you realise what you've just done?
I made magic. That's what I
Make it happen, kids.
Somebody will do that.
Make it happen. Anything else we need to talk about?
Yeah. slightly inconceivable that Rusty could take down all the Daleks by himself.
Well, this is climax.
I know this is something...
The idea of surprise, okay, he took it by surprise. It's a Dalek fighting Daleks. But after that, there's a lot more than just a couple of Daleks there.
I mean, if the soldiers took advantage, of the distraction to help Rusty.
Even worse than that, though, is that the other Daleks didn't fire on Rusty once.
No, they didn't. They didn't fire once. They were just there to be blown up.
One ran away, one tried to fire but was blown up on the X, which I kind of liked. Lots of violence in this episode. I mean, Moffat...
It's very bleak.
Moffat promised more deaths, and you got it in abundance in this episode.
Wait, he promised more deaths?
He did in an interview. I don't know the exact interview which he said
come
it, but
on,
he promised some more deaths.
Right.
Or maybe some more on screen.
He kills at least one person per episode.
Yeah, but a lot of it's off screen.
Okay.
And that was something that you had a problem with about Deep Breath last week. But yes, anyway, I think we can basically just sum this episode up now. It was good.
I really liked it, but most of my like for it was the interaction with the Doctor and Clara and the new personality of the Doctor. The Dalek stuff was pretty good, but it's not a standout hit.
It gets a pass from me.
It definitely gets a pass from me. Not really so much for the episode itself, but it's a prelude to greater things. The 12th Doctor era, for better or for worse, is here.
Yes.
And I couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. Kat, what were your overall thoughts on Into the Dalek?
Overall, I thought the character interactions were very nice. Clara and the Doctor, and then Clara and Danny, and obviously Danny looks like he's going to be a really interesting character. And from the female's point of view, he's adorable as well. His little freak out where he wanted to say yes to going out with Clara, but he didn't, was really cute. Rusty is an interesting character. I'm wondering if they're going to bring him back or not. But it'd be interesting if he got to other Daleks and they had this group of what you could call good Daleks. Mm-hmm. It was a very mean episode, and I'm wondering if the rest of the series is going to have that on it, if it's going to be a very mean series. So I'm a little concerned about that. But otherwise, I like the episode as a whole.
Okay. Well, I've been wanting people that know me know it's no secret, I've been wanting a darker Doctor for some time, just to have a difference between the Matt Smith era and the Capaldi era. And by God, have we ever got it.
There you go.
And I think this episode, as I say, I'll give it a pass, mainly because it actually did the Daleks some justice. Okay, Rusty taking them all out himself kind of went back on that a little bit, but they are a threat again.
Or any of the other plot holes you guys mentioned.
Yeah, there was a few plot holes, but I think at this point I'm just going to have to resign myself to the fact there will always be plot holes in science fiction.
There you go.
Even really good science fiction.
You can nitpick anything if you try hard.
And you've done a good job in sort of explaining a couple of them away, even the terrible Dalek hive mind idea that I was turning my nose up at. I accidentally confirmed, so that's great.
Resistance is futile, Rainiac. You will come into the hive mind theory.
Oh my God, I love how you brought that full circle.
Oh God.
No, that's good. That's good. I also like how this story, either intentionally or otherwise, referenced several classic sci-fi tropes. We had the shrinking of people going inside another body. We had the possible Star Wars reference with the waste disposal place. We had the classic door that will never hold scene. Just a lot of good science fiction standard tropes.
So,
the old ones are the best.
So, all in all, it gets a pass from us.
I think it's better than Deep Breath on the whole.
Same here.
Although I love the final 20 minutes of Deep Breath, and I'll probably love the final 20 minutes of Deep Breath more than most things this series.
Yeah, you guys already know how much I enjoyed Deep Breath, which, by the way, spoilers, wasn't much.
No, I think you...
So I definitely like this a lot better.
I think you were like me, weren't you? You liked the scene with the confrontation between Half-Faced Man and the Doctor. But apart from that, not much else.
There was just too much that I couldn't get into. There were plot holes that I noticed, and the plot wasn't well explained in the episode.
Yeah. But as you've both stated, it was definitely better than Deep Breath, and that means that the series is hopefully heading in the right direction.
Yes, and speaking of directions, up next, Robot of Sherwood.
Is it robot or
Ro-
robots?
Robot.
I don't know.
Robots of Sherwood. Yeah,
Yes.
this is
Doctor
going
Who
to
meets
be...
Robin Hood.
You couldn't really get much out of the trailer because it was so short. But I'm excited about this for two major reasons. One, Mark Gatiss is coming back to write it.
Oh boy.
And we all know how good job he did with The Crimson Horror.
Thank you.
There you
That's
are.
good.
And the
That's
second reason is Ben Miller is going to be in the episode as the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Cool.
Now, you may not know who Ben Miller is, but he's an actor who's been on British screen for quite some time. Primeval, Death in Paradise, Johnny English. Really good actor, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him actually play a villain for once.
Doctor Who does Robin Hood is something the show hasn't really done before, so it's going to be fun, I think.
I hope so. I hope it's as fun as I think it's going to be. Last week, I made the mistake of underrating the episode. Hopefully, I'm not making the other mistake of overrating this one. But we'll see when we come back for the next time.
All right, well, we can wrap up, I guess.
I think we can. So I'd like to thank Fresno and Kat for joining us.
Oh, it's no trouble.
Especially Kat, who came in at, it has to be said, fairly short notice. And you might be coming back.
Sweet.
If I'm not saying
you can't ever escape this madhouse.
Well, all I mean is that if time permits, because that's the reason Kuchiri couldn't make it. Hopefully you'll come back.
Kuchiri?
Anyway.
What? We could kick him out. I do this all the time.
You do realise he watches these back.
I don't care.
You've just put a target on your back. Good job there, Kat.
Oh, God.
Hey, he has to find me first.
That's very true. But I think that'll just about do it for Into the Dalek. We all enjoyed it, I think it's fair to say. So thank you for watching / listening to this review. And next time, Robot of Sherwood. Until then...
Don't forget our social media nonsense. You can find it all down in the thing.
Yes, I'll link it in the description. Until then,
Good.
bye for now.
Bye.